paintings quite often come from different ideas and observations just sort of overlapping, coming together. And initially when I was in Cali, there was a point where there was a bit of a riot kind of broke out around us. There was a surge of people running in one direction, and then a surge back of people carrying rocks and iron bars pushing past us towards what was effectively a fight going on to one side. And in the middle of this chaos, I looked over, and in a bit of waste ground a couple of 100 yards away, there was this guy just standing on his own in very ethnic-y clothing, and he must have been sort of 18, 20. He was a young guy, and he had his hands up in the air, and I don't know what was going on. I don't know if this was beseeching or a challenge or despair or what, but in the centre of this kind of storm of activity, you could see this sort of calm, intriguing language of this guy's body. The hands are turned out, and that's what he looked like. But I don't know if the hands were turned up to God in despair or pushing out in anger. So it's a painting of questions. I guess paintings are all about questions. And it just stuck in my mind. And afterwards I got back to where I was staying, and I was writing up notes for the day, and I remember writing an account of this and doing a little sketch from memory of this pose of this guy standing there, and it really stuck in my mind. And then months later, I was out in Jordan, and I was travelling around in the desert with ecologists who were looking at the birds there, and we were talking about how the water had been extracted from the oases in the deserts. And the entire Jordanian desert is this kind of dun set of greys and browns and beiges. But underneath, the sand is red. Deep down, it's a red sand. And occasionally, a whirlwind would just rip across the desert. These tiny little things, maybe 8 or 10 foot high. They're called jinn in Arabic, these spirits, these desert spirits. And they looked like whirling figures. And the first one I saw, it just called to mind, for some reason, this figure in Cali, this guy in Cali. And those two thoughts overlapped, and the thought of this guy dissolving in this whirlwind, and this identity being lost somehow. And the figure of the whirlwind with the red sand that was pulled up into the middle of it, it was just really visually compelling. And that's where the imagery from this came from. And if you look more closely, you can see that there's this Arabic script kind of running through the figure. And it's a broken up portion of this Arabic prayer. I've disguised it entirely so that the writing is completely unintelligible and dissolved and then reconstructed in its component parts. And the viewer can bring to this whatever they want. But within the painting, there are these elements, and layered into the picture, into the oil paint, are little bits of paper, receipts and food wrappings, and bits of cloth and thread picked up from the transit camps that I visited through Europe and in Jordan. You know, in all the work that I'm producing, I'm pointing towards topics, and I'm pointing towards things which are uncomfortable. But really, I'm not pushing forward a view that is, you must think this. This is a set of answers, or anything like that. I'm hoping to pull people in and to get them to think. And that's all I'm asking.